Hello everyone and welcome. This is 3D Immortal from Web Institute, and today this is going to be our fourth Blender tutorial, and it's going to be about an area of Blender that is, quite dark. Nobody talks about very much or uses very much. We're going to create this screwdriver. We're going to create this screwdriver using Nurbs, not using simple ordinary low poly modeling techniques. We're going to use Nurbs, and that's the difference here, and it's going to be quite easy and quite interesting. So let's just get started. Going back to the 3D view here, and this is our ordinary scene. By the way, I'm using the Blender 2.55, the official beta release that was just released today actually. So it's going to be interesting. Let's just get started, and in the name of God, we're going to begin our modeling techniques. First of all, I'm going to delete the cube by pressing X on the keyboard. And then what I'm going to do, I am going to go to the front viewport by hitting numpad 1, okay? And I want to work in the orthogonal view, not in the perspective. So numpad 5 moves me to the orthogonal view, okay? And in order to work with Nurbs, you need to add some curves, some Nurb curves, or actually what they're called surface curves. So that's will be our first thing to do here. So Shift A to add, and then in the surface menu choose a Nurbs circle. Nurbs circle. And then align it to the viewport. Now you might want to scale it up just a little bit, it's okay. And then I'm going to go and name it, my lovely naming convention, screwdriver, okay. And then I will tab key into the edit mode, and I will see that it the surface is is formed by 8 vertices. They are called actually the control vertices, vertices, or actually the CVs. So I will try to move them around in order to get the shape that I want, and you will understand me, so just bear with me. You need to keep the symmetry. You need really to keep the symmetry. So don't just select one point and move it around. No, do like what I'm going to do now. Select those 4 points, and then hit S to scale, and scale them down, just like that. Yeah, just like that. And you might want to scale up everything. Scale up, yeah, like that. That's quite easy and simple, right? Yeah. Now what? Go out of the edit mode, and then go to the side viewport by hitting numpad 3, and then duplicate it. Duplicate this curve, or this circle. We call it screwdriver. Yeah, duplicate it by pressing Shift D on the keyboard and then pressing Y to limit the movement across the Y axis, and place it just about here. Okay. Now going back to the side viewport, front viewport, like that, and then deselect everything, Shift A to add a surface, and this time also a Nurbs circle, and align it to the view. Now I think you want to scale it up just a little bit, just like that, or maybe, yeah, it's okay, just like that. And then make sure that's a side note I want to add here. in order to work with NURBS, your surfaces, I mean your curves or control let's say your curves, has got to have the same number of control vertices. So remember when we were working with this shape here, it was a circle in the beginning and it has 8 vertices, and this one also, if you tab into edit mode, you have you find out that it has also 8 vertices. Okay, so that's fine. They have the same amount of vertices, so no problem. I'm going to be able to turn them into a surface in the end. So while this circle is selected, go back to the side viewport and just move it backwards just a little bit. Yeah, just like that. I think that's cool. Yeah, I think that's cool. And then Shift D to duplicate it. Hold the, press Y to limit the movement to the Y axis, and then what? And then I guess I'm going to scale it. I'm going to scale it down. So S Shift Y to limit the scaling around the XZ plane, and I'm going to scale it just about that. Okay, go back to the side viewport, select that circle, and then Shift D, Y, and move it just about here, just like that. Okay, and what else? I'm going to duplicate it again, Shift D, Y, move it like that. Yeah, just about that. And then scale it. Oh, scale it. S, Shift Y. Ooh, scale it just like that. Not so much, just like that. And then go back to the side viewport. You'll understand. You'll get my point later on when we finish. So just, yeah. Okay. Shift D again. Shift D again. Y. Yeah, I think that's okay. And then Shift D again, Y, just a tiny bit like that. Okay, now I'm gonna go back to the front viewport, S, Shift Y, and scale it just about that. Yeah, just a tiny bit like that. And then Shift D, Y, just like that. I might wanna select these two and scale them down just a bit, S, Shift Y, yeah, just like that. Okay, good. And then what I'm going to do here is Shift D, move that here just a tiny bit closer to the other one here, and that's going to be the start at the beginning. I think you got the point. This is the handle of the screwdriver, and this is the metallic part, the screwdriver itself. So front viewport, see how we go back and forth from between the side and the front viewport. S. Oh, I think I got something. I messed something up. So because I didn't limit the movement to the Y, so I'm gonna delete that one here, and Shift D, Y, and just like that. Okay, and then S, Shift Y, move, scale it just like that. I think that's enough. Go back to the side, and then Shift D, Y, and you got my point. I think you got my point. That's the metallic part. Now for the screwdriver, this one here, yeah, this thing, we will use the same shape actually we used here. We will use the same shape. That's going to be quite easy. So this is the shape. that we're talking about, huh? This is the one that we're talking about. So I'm going to Shift D, Y, and move it like that, and then go back to the front viewport and scale it. S, Shift Y, and scale it just, so that it really goes inside that small circle. Yeah, that's just fine. Okay, and then go back to the side viewport, and I think that, yeah, it's okay. Shift D, Y, move it just like that, and then go back to the front viewport. S, Shift Y, and make it quite small, and then I will duplicate that circle. Shift D, Y, and scale it down. S, Shift Y, yeah, like that. Good. Now I think we are ready to skin. And you hear this, term, skin our, nerves curves. Now, but first, before we do that, I like to do something. Actually, I like to do something that is very important. I'll move this away. I will make a duplicate, of these curves, so that if I mess something up and I want to go back to my curves, then I will have them, stored for me. So how to do that? That's quite simple. I will select one of them, any one of them actually, and B for box selection. Select them all, Shift D to duplicate, and then press 0 and enter. And then while these duplicates are selected, press M on your keyboard to move to another layer. And now there, yes, and then see here, these are your layers here. So layer 1 contains something because it has a dot in it, and also layer 2 contains something because it has a it has a dot in it. If you go back to the layer 2, you will find that it only has our curves, but if you go back to layer 1, these are the original curves plus the camera and the light. Yeah, so we're going to work with these, but these are actually our backups if in case we need them, but hopefully we will not. Okay, now I will select one of these, okay, and B, box select to select all of them. Now see here, curve, circle, curve, circle, curve, circle, and screwdriver, and the other ones here are actually our duplicates in layer 2, so while these objects are selected, we're actually working in the object mode. So while they are selected, I'm going to join them. I'm going to make them one single object. How to do that in Blender is actually very simple, by hitting Shift J on your keyboard. That didn't do anything. That really didn't do anything, because I guess there's something I don't know what happened, but it's not Shift J, it's Control J, for God's sake. I forgot, sorry. So it's Control J. See, all of these objects, curve objects that we had previously, have disappeared, and were combined into one single object that is called Curve Circle 001. Okay, I'm going to rename it. Screwdriver. Okay, Very simple, very easy. What about these? These are actually our duplicates in layer 2. We will not use them now. So this is now one single object. If you tab into edit mode, you'll see that you can actually, edit them all as if they were one single object, and they are actually. So select all, and then what? Very simple. Hit F on your keyboard. See? Quite easy. Very quite easy. But note, it still needs some, as you can see, some modification and tweaking. It's not a problem. That's what I'm going to show you. See here? Now you can select one vertex, one control vertex of a single curve, and then hit on your keyboard Shift R to select the whole let's say curve, that's control curve, whatever you want to name it, and while in the edit mode, go to the curve tab here and make it endpoint. Yeah, that's gonna be okay. And you might wanna extrude, so E on your keyboard, extrude, and limit that to Y, and I think that's not a problem here, just like that. Okay, and extrude again, Y, but I will make that 0, and then scale down and make that 0. So I closed the curve in here. Very simple, very easy. You might also, I want to select that and Shift R, and then I think I'm gonna scale that up just a little bit. So S, Shift Y, and yeah, maybe that's not bad. S, Shift Y, just like that. No problem really. Okay, now one thing also, as you can see here, the transition is quite smooth from this handle part to the to the metallic part. That's not what I want. I want to make this edge a little sharper. So how can I do that? Now I will select this vertex and shift select this vertex as well, and then Shift R. Well, actually no, this vertex and Shift R first, and then shift select this vertex and then Shift R. This will select the whole let's say edges. They're not edges actually, but they will select the whole area. Now W to get the specials menu, and then subdivide. You will have a new control curve. Now deselect all by pressing A on your keyboard. Select that vertex and then Shift R to select its control curve, and then move it back like that, and it'll make your edge very sharp. That's what I wanted. I've got a problem here. I don't know what it is, but maybe I need to scale that up or down. I don't know. It's not a problem. Just okay. Select that. Shift R. Try to move it back or forward. I think. Yeah, that's cool here. And then go back. Shift select this vertex. Shift R. I think I'm gonna subdivide it here. So W subdivide, and then select that. Shift R. Move it forward, just like that. And we also need to close the hole in here, right? So how to do that? Very simple. Select that one here, Shift R, Scale S, Shift Y, 0. Now see, it's quite easy to model something like that. Now tab out of the edit mode. Oh, it's quite fat in here, yeah, but it's not a problem, you know. You can adjust that very simply, you know, by modifying the curves, scaling them down or up or anything, you know. I'm going to do that. It's not a problem. Shift. You know what? Move that forward just a little bit, and then deselect all. B to box select here. These, and then scale. Shift Y. Yeah, like that. Hopefully it's going to look okay now. Yeah, not bad, really not bad. Now, I'm going to try to render it, not because it's very important or it's very difficult to render it, but I want to show you something here. I want you to be able to achieve the same effect that I achieved here. That is actually a plane, an infinite plane, that takes the color of the horizon, of your horizon, and just has something like, you know, this shadow, you know. This is quite simple to achieve in Cinema 4D, you know. If you're a Cinema 4D user, there is that tag called compositing background, something like that, you know, compositing tag, and you enable the compositing background. That's quite simple. Now I'm going to have some lights. First of all, I'm going to go to the top viewport, Shift A to add mesh plane, and that's our plane in here, right? Yeah, I'm gonna move it backwards like that. It doesn't matter where it's placed actually, and I'm going to scale it up. Yeah, just like that, and then go to the front viewport, select our object, move it up just like that, so that it rests on the plane, and then I will try to add some lights. Yeah, got that light. I want it to have no shadows at all. Shift D to duplicate it like that, Shift D to duplicate it like that, and then Shift D to duplicate it, and move it, G to grab, and move it just like that. Okay, now I want to decrease the energy of each one of them, make it 0.5. Yeah, 0.5, and this one also, it's gonna be 0.5, and then this one will remain 1, and this one will be the one who produces shadow. Okay, now to the materials. I will select the plane, go to the material tab, add a new material. I will make it quite white. It doesn't matter whether it's, you know, white or not. It doesn't matter, because actually we're just gonna use it to be, let's go here and make it, as you can see, shadow only. So it receives shadow only, but it has nothing else. I don't need the intensity of the specular or anything, you know. And try render now. As you can see, it just, you know, has shadow only. But hey, you might want to go to the world tab and set the horizon color to be white. Okay, now I need to position, I need to add also a material to that object here, add new. Okay, and I will make it just a little bit darker, just like that, and metallic, so it's shiny, just like that. And yeah, no problem. um, I need to adjust the camera here, so um, go to the perspective viewport. That's quite long, that thing, yeah. Maybe I need to make it make it shorter again, I guess. I think it's quite long. So deselect all, B, box select, move it backwards just like that. Okay, tab out of the edit mode, and then try to place the camera somewhere like that. Just like that. Uh-huh. Control Alt Numpad 0 to place the camera in the position you were looking at. Okay, and as you can see clearly, the camera needs some work, so I'm going to select the border, right clicking on the border selects the camera, and then press G to grab and move it, G, and then ZZ to move the camera across its local Z axis. Okay, just like that, and then G and move it just like that. You might want to zoom in a bit, so G, Z, Z, and yeah, like that. And then render. That's cool. That's cool. That's not bad. So you get the idea here. You might want to select the object and, you know, try to increase the resolution, make it, for example, 24, and also 24 here, you know, and it's just renders perfectly. It's quite smooth, and it didn't take quite much to model. Yeah, so it's really wonderful. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed the tutorial, and as you can see, we've got some shadows here, but it's quite, you know, soft shadows because we've got several lights in the scene. uh, that's quite not bad, you know. You can see that the model is still, you know, still needs some work, you know, to make it perfect, but for the sake of this tutorial, I think I'm going to end it here, and hopefully I'm going to see you soon in another tutorial. Thanks for watching, and please send me any comments, any, you know, suggestions, request any tutorials if you want. I'm going to be extremely happy to help anyone learn, because I believe that learning is the right for everyone, and uh, uh, if I know anything, I would never ever, you know, keep it for myself. I will always share it, because sharing is much better than just keeping knowledge, you know. So good luck and happy blending, and hopefully we'll see you soon in another tutorial.